We are now going to go over the answers that you guys just gave. I want you to think about your answer and compare it to the answer that is correct. It doesn't matter if you got it wrong. This is just for a learning experience. I just want you to see why the correct answer is right. Number one, which is the most likely reason the playwright includes the character's age? The answer is this information will help the director choose actors to play each character. Think about if they were filming a play. If they were filming a movie. We wouldn't want a 79-year-old woman playing the role of a 3-year-old girl. You want to make sure that your actors and actresses fit the role. Number two, in this first scene, the playwright uses an tone for the lines that are spoken by Mrs. Ulcer. Formal, which means that they are very professional. Number three, the stage directions in paragraph 3, 10, and 13 indicate. So if we were to go back and look at those stage directions, paragraphs 3, 10, and 13. Whitney sits on the sofa, but Mrs. Olsen still remains standing. Mrs. Olsen walks to the door and opens it. Whitney follows, but stops in the door. Mrs. Olsen removes cash from her suit jacket. She unfolds the bills and counts them out. Whitney's jaw drops as Mrs. Olsen counts higher and higher. So those are included to indicate an official relationship where Mrs. Olsen is the boss and Whitney is her employee. So the author included those to help you identify what their relationship is like. In lines 14 and 15, sufficient means. So we must use our context clues to figure out the meaning of that word. So lines 14 and 15. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000. There's your first week's salary. Will that be sufficient? Yes, that will be sufficient. What does that word mean? If Whitney is stuttering as if she's in shock, that is the hint or the clue that we can use to figure out the meaning of the word sufficient. So A, an appropriate amount of something. Could be. B, too much. C, too little. I don't think she would be saying yes if her pay was too little. Or D, to experience pain. Her amount of money has nothing to do with pain. So our answer choices would be between A and B. And if you chose A, you are correct. Going on to the next scene. Number 5, the playwright uses which kind of figurative language throughout the second scene? Our answer here is idioms. So if we go back and look, our idioms are you sure you haven't bitten off more than you can chew? So that idiom means, well, if we look at a couple of lines after that, what do you mean? This woman hired you to work 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. That's 72 hours a week. Do you really want to work that many hours over the summer? So here she's telling her that's a lot, which is what you haven't bitten off more than you can chew means. Another idiom in this scene is, you're kind of missing the elephant in the room. And she responds, huh? Don't you think it's a little strange that she never asked you any questions or ever had you meet her son? I mean, if it wasn't such an easy job, why did the last lady quit? So missing the elephant in the room means that there's something bigger here that you're not noticing. Let's see, another idiom in this scene is, if it looks like a duck, it swims like a duck, and quacks like a duck, then it's probably a duck. And what that means is that if it looks like what it actually is, then that's what it actually is. That's the end of it. Let's go on to the next. Oops, kind of went ahead there. Which line indicates that Whitney is annoyed by Rachel's response? Why do you always have to speak in riddles? Sounds pretty annoying, right? Number 7. Whitney stands up and puts her hands on her hips. These stage directions are important to help the audience understand that. What do you think about when someone puts their hands on their hips? How do you think they're feeling? Rachel's comments upset Whitney. So she's probably feeling frustrated, irritated, mad, upset, things like that. Scene 3. Are you kidding me? I would love to. That sounds like so much fun. Russell and Whitney stand up. Russell slides his hand into Whitney's and they walk off stage. Which line represents the climax of the play? C, lines 42 through 43, which say, "You're right, Russell. I'm not your mom. I bet you'd rather be spending time with her, wouldn't you?" Russell stops running. He stares at Whitney. Then he looks down and nods his head. So that is the point, the height of our problem, and from that point, that is where we're going to start seeing things change. Number 9, line 47 is important because it's... So let's go back and read line 47. I hardly get to see my mom. When she gets home at night, she makes me start getting ready for bed. So going back to our question, this line is important because it helps the audience understand why Russell was acting in such a disrespectful manner. So you are going to, on your assignment for today, you're going to be reading this drama and answering some questions just like we just did. All right. Please let me know if you have any questions before you get started on this assignment. If you don't understand something or if you're unsure, please let me know so I can help.